In Price, Utah, a devastating crime shocked a small town to its core. At the center of this story is Ashley Vigil, a 31-year-old woman who couldn't fight back, couldn't call for help, and couldn't tell anyone what was happening to her. Ashley was born with Rett syndrome, a condition that trapped her in her own body. She couldn't walk or talk, she couldn't feed herself, she couldn't even push away someone trying to hurt her. Her small, fragile body weighed just 48 pounds. Every day she needed help with everything: eating, drinking, changing clothes, and even moving from her bed. She was completely dependent on others to keep her safe and comfortable. Her mother, Paula, became her voice, her protector, and her constant caregiver. Paula transformed their home into a safe haven for Ashley, filling it with soft music, gentle voices, and careful attention to her every need. For years, this seemed enough to keep Ashley safe, or so they thought, until the ultimate betrayal by someone the family had trusted to help care for Ashley. This is more than just a crime story. It's about a young woman who couldn't defend herself, a mother's relentless fight for justice, and how one case is shaping the future of Utah's laws. Today, we're uncovering the full story of what happened in that small Utah town and how the fight for Ashley's law continues to make a difference. Welcome to True Crime Max. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share the video. Also, drop a comment to let me know where you're watching from. Your support means a lot. Ashley Vigil was born in Utah in the early 1990s, a beloved daughter whose journey would soon reveal unique challenges. Early developmental delays led to a diagnosis of Rett syndrome, a rare neurological disorder that predominantly affects girls. This condition gradually stripped Ashley of abilities most children develop naturally, such as speaking, walking, and purposeful use of her hands. By the time she was a toddler, her life required constant care and attention. Rett syndrome shaped every aspect of Ashley's existence, leaving her completely dependent on others for even the most basic tasks. Despite these immense challenges, Ashley's vibrant personality shone through. Her expressions and reactions spoke volumes, conveying a spirit that transcended her physical limitations. She loved being read to, listening to music, and feeling the warmth of her mother's presence. Her mother, Paula Vigil, became Ashley's fiercest advocate and devoted caregiver. Paula transformed their home into a sanctuary designed to meet Ashley's needs. From specialized medical equipment to sensory-friendly spaces, every detail was carefully arranged. Their daily routine was intense: medications, therapy sessions, feeding schedules, and constant health monitoring. But it was all driven by a mother's unwavering beyond physical care. She sought to give Ashley a life filled with connection, joy, and comfort. Their bond was profound, with Paula often describing Ashley's bright eyes and occasional smiles as reflections of her humanity and spirit. In a world that could easily overlook someone like Ashley, Paula ensured her daughter was not just cared for, but cherished. When Brian Kenneth Urban entered their lives, he seemed like the help Paula had been waiting for. He presented himself as someone who understood the difficulties of caring for a severely disabled person. For a mother who had carried the weight of caregiving alone for so long, Urban's arrival felt like a moment of relief. At first, he appeared to be attentive and supportive, helping with Ashley's care and accompanying them to appointments. To outsiders, Urban seemed like a devoted stepfather, willing to step into a challenging role. His presence initially eased some of the pressure on Paula, offering what seemed like stability in a home defined by constant demands. By October 2022, Ashley Vigil's health started changing in ways that worried both her family and her medical team. Ashley, a young woman with Rett syndrome, had always needed a lot of care, but this decline was unlike anything they had seen before. She began having more seizures for no clear reason, had trouble eating, and lost weight quickly and dangerously. Her rapid decline left her mother, Paula, and Ashley's neurologist feeling desperate for answers. After several medical tests didn't provide any answers, her doctor suggested installing cameras in Ashley's bedroom to watch what was happening during these strange episodes, hoping the footage would help explain things. At first, Paula tried to record Ashley's seizures with her phone, but it was too much. The process was exhausting, and she felt overwhelmed trying to capture these painful moments while also taking care of Ashley. Determined to follow the doctor's advice, Paula decided to buy cameras for Ashley's room to keep watch at all hours. She asked her husband, Brian Urban, to help set up the equipment, trusting him to be there in such a crucial time. On a day that seemed like any other, Paula sat down to review what she thought would be routine medical footage. What the cameras captured, however, would reveal a truth so devastating that it tore the family apart. Her hands trembled as she pressed play, expecting to see the seizures that had been plaguing her daughter. But the reality was far more horrifying. Instead of catching the seizures, I caught him, Paula later recounted with a voice filled with anguish. The footage revealed Brian Urban, the man she had trusted implicitly, committing unspeakable acts against Ashley. Urban was seen methodically undressing Ashley, moving her from her bed to the couch, removing her diaper, and sexually assaulting her. The calculated nature of his actions was chilling. After the assault, he redressed Ashley and returned her to bed, as if nothing had happened. Paula was paralyzed by the realization. The man she had welcomed into her family, believing he would help shoulder the burdens of caregiving, was the very person exploiting Ashley's vulnerability. In her words, in her condition, she can't move. He had to completely undress her, move her, and do what he did. Then he had to dress her and put her back in bed. Each step required deliberate action. Brian Urban's betrayal was even worse because of the trust Paula placed in him. When he first came to their lives, he seemed like a blessing. He presented himself as patient, caring, and genuinely concerned about Ashley's well-being. Paula, who had been carrying the heavy load of caregiving mostly on her own, finally felt she had a partner to share the responsibility. Looking back, Paula could see that the signs of Ashley's mysterious decline had been there all along. The rise in seizures, the rapid weight loss, and the trouble eating weren't random. They were signs of the horrible abuse her daughter had suffered at the hands of someone she had trusted. The moment Paula discovered the footage, her world shattered. She immediately reported Urban's crimes to law enforcement, initiating an investigation that would expose the depths of his depravity. His arrest shocked their Utah community, but for Paula, it was only the beginning of a long and painful journey toward justice for Ashley. After his arrest, I started reaching out to people he had been involved with before he met us. What I heard was shocking and all too familiar. The stories of rape and domestic abuse mirrored what I had just discovered, and they came from his past life in another state. Yet despite these warnings, the police hadn't stopped him back then. When faced with the charges in court, Urban's response exposed his lack of remorse and true nature. Instead of expressing regret, he tried to shift the blame and downplay his actions, suggesting that elevated testosterone levels could excuse his deliberate cruelty. He also claimed that during the event, he was in a dreamlike state where reality felt disconnected, further revealing not guilt, but a calculated effort to evade responsibility for his heinous actions. Perhaps most chillingly, Urban remarked, "I still today would never believe this was actually possible." His statements in court revealed a man disconnected from the reality of his crimes, unwilling to face the full extent of the harm he had caused. Ironically, the very cameras Urban helped install became the key to exposing his actions. The surveillance footage not only documented the abuse, but also highlighted the premeditated nature of his behavior. This evidence was crucial in securing his conviction, providing irrefutable proof of his guilt. Paula later explained how the cameras had come to be installed. Her mother's birthday was approaching, and Paula wanted to take her out for a rare celebration. "My mother was turning 79, and at her age, every birthday is potentially the last. For years, either I had Ashley or my mother did, so we hadn't been anywhere together for quite some time. I asked Brian to keep Ashley while I took my mom out for her birthday." The next morning, as Paula reviewed the footage to check for seizures, she stumbled upon the horrifying truth. Through it all, Paula remained unwavering in her fight for Ashley. Her decision to install the cameras, despite the emotional toll it took, was a testament to her dedication as a mother. Her courage not only exposed Urban's crimes, but also highlighted the vulnerabilities faced by individuals like Ashley, who depend entirely on others for their care. Paula's advocacy went beyond her own family. She began working to raise awareness about abuse in caregiving settings, pushing for reforms to protect other vulnerable individuals. Her story became a rallying cry for justice, reminding the world of the importance of vigilance and the incredible strength of a mother's love. In October 2023, almost exactly 1 year after the revelation of Urban's crimes, he pleaded guilty to 5 felony charges. The overwhelming evidence was undeniable, captured in stark detail by the very cameras intended to monitor Ashley's medical condition. But for Paula Vigil, this guilty plea brought little solace. Her daughter's health had been rapidly deteriorating in the aftermath of the abuse. The connection between Ashley's declining health and the trauma she had endured became increasingly apparent. Seizures, once sporadic, grew more frequent and severe, her body seeming to mirror the pain she could not articulate. Sadly, on March 16, 2023, before Ashley could witness her abuser face final justice, she passed away. Her death added an unbearable layer of grief to an already devastating situation. However, it also served as the catalyst that intensified Paula's resolve to create a legacy that would protect others from experiencing similar horrors. On April 5, 2024, in the West Jordan District Court, justice was finally served. The judge rejected Urban's attempts to explain away his actions, sentencing him to the maximum penalty for each charge. These included 5 years to life for the 2 rape convictions and 1 to 15 years for the 3 counts of forcible sexual abuse. These sentences were to be served consecutively, ensuring that Urban would face the full consequences of his actions. Throughout this legal battle, Paula channeled her grief into meaningful action. Even before Ashley's passing, she began advocating for new legislation to address a critical gap in the legal system. While Utah law had provided protections for children and the elderly, vulnerable adults like Ashley had been left in a gray area, vulnerable to exploitation and abuse. Paula's tireless advocacy led to the creation of what would become known as Ashley's Law. Despite the horrific nature of his crimes, Urban became eligible for parole due to the 2 years he spent in custody awaiting his plea, which were counted as time served. Under the proposed Ashley's Law, Paula explained, that would have been a minimum of 53 years before we'd have to worry about him being released again. Her words underscored the importance of the law, one that would ensure those who prey on vulnerable adults face consequences that reflect the severity of their crimes. Even as Urban began serving his sentence, Ashley's case continued to reverberate across the state. In response to the tragedy that had devastated one family, care facilities throughout Utah began reassessing and strengthening their monitoring procedures. Families of vulnerable adults installed surveillance systems to protect their loved ones, and healthcare providers introduced new screening processes for caregivers. Ashley's painful experience became a powerful catalyst for change, inspiring others to act in the name of prevention. As we honor Ashley's memory and the incredible work Paula has done in her advocacy, it is essential to understand the deep personal motivation behind this fight. Paula's grief over losing her daughter became the driving force behind the push for justice. Her efforts have resulted in a significant shift in the way vulnerable adults are treated under the law, creating a future in which their protection is paramount. Her journey is one of profound love, resilience, and the desire to protect others from experiencing the same heartbreak that she endured. But Paula has expressed it best herself. Please don't let Ashley have suffered and died in vain. Please help me make change in her memory so no other family falls into this hole. These words are not just a plea, but a call to action. Paula's efforts have already inspired significant change. But there is more to be done. With Ashley's Law now moving through the legislative process, the fight continues. It is a fight that we can all participate in. The campaign for Ashley's Law gained momentum as it sought to address crimes against vulnerable adults with the same severity as those against children. The surveillance cameras that had documented Urban's crimes became a symbol of both tragedy and the hope for prevention, a constant reminder that vigilance must never fade. In January 5, 2024, Paula received a crucial update regarding Ashley's law. Representative Mark A. Strong of District 47 sent her a message confirming that the bill had been drafted, ready to be numbered, and that it was slated for discussion in the next legislative sitting. It would soon be presented to a committee for further review. This was a pivotal step in enacting stronger protections for vulnerable adults like Ashley, and it was a testament to the progress Paula and her supporters had made. The news, which Paula shared with her supporters on Facebook, has reignited hope that meaningful change is within reach. Although Ashley's life was tragically cut short, her story has sparked a powerful movement that will leave a lasting impact on the lives of other vulnerable individuals. Through the tireless advocacy of her mother, Ashley's memory lives on in the fight for justice, offering a beacon of hope for those who need it most. With Ashley's law edging closer to becoming a reality, Paula's journey stands as a testament to a mother's love and the collective power of a community rallying together for change. If you have been inspired by Ashley's story, subscribe now and join the fight for a better tomorrow.